Where are we up to?
Yeah, she's really
Good.
smart. Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
She loved it. My
The last night I did.
youngest grandson.
My husband, this couldn't happen last week.
My sister-in-law got she was another girl, and so she had to do a lot of back exercises and like push shoulders back. But she did a lot of sports though too. As well.
Okay, yeah.
It was not active.
You have emailed the presentation. There is. Thank you.
Additions to the agenda. Tim?
Nope.
Jack?
No.
Jen?
No.
Nope.
Yes. Look at us.
Motion to confirm the agenda as presented. Okay. Anyone, any pecuniary interest to declare? Having none? Approval of the minutes. Committee meeting December 3rd. Any errors or omissions? Comment?
Just a spelling mistake, but
All right.
Look at you reading the minutes.
Actually, Jen added it for him.
Exactly.
Motion to approve the minutes with the spelling mistake?
Tim's name was spelled wrong.
no, it was, I caught it sparring, but anyway, it'll fix it up.
Delegations. Nicola? The hot seat.
All right, so I'll set
Judy?
here, I'll get it.
Are you still the chair, Judy?
Yes.
God love you. Candace is behind you going like this.
We haven't arranged a retirement party yet. It could be a year or two.
Oh, you never know. January, maybe we'll have some willing volunteers for that.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So I'll start off. Hello, everyone. Just for the sake of the people here, I think you know who we are, but I'll introduce ourselves. I'm Judy Sauvé, Chair of the Library Board, and this is Nicolina Lekarvik. She's our new permanent, well, not new, but she's our permanent CEO. The board is very, very happy to announce that. Congratulations, Nicolina.
Thank you so much.
Been in the position since April, but it's now official. So we're very pleased with that. And speaking of the board, we do have a couple of members here. Candace Woolley, I'll put it for you, Candace, and Dorothy Langman, and of course Merv is part of the library board as well. So we, in the package that was sent out, there was a document that relates to your role as counselors regarding the library. We're not going to cover that today just because there's not a lot of time to do that, but we would ask just that you review it if you already haven't. And of course, if there's any questions, you can always call the library and talk to Nicolina. That was something that was handed to us during a training at the provided by the Southern Ontario Library Services. So it is just a really informative package. So for our slideshow today, I just wanted to point out a couple of things before I hand it over to Nicolina. On this first slide, you'll see that we have a new logo. And we also have a new tagline, your community, your library. Well, not actually that, the tagline isn't that new, but we put it all together. And I'm hoping that some of you have driven past the library because we have a beautiful new sign out there that was designed by the staff and funded by the Friends of the Library. And there are actually, there's the large sign, but there's also a couple of them attached to the building. So we're quite proud of that. And the new logo displays really well on there. And also on this slide, you'll see the little superhero down in the corner. I just wanted to explain why that's there. She's representing the staff at the library because we really feel they are superheroes because they're, you know, day in, day out serving the patrons and representing the library. But they're also handling a lot of situations that we don't really think of in relation to the library. So there are a lot of people that come to the library just to find like a safe, quiet place when they sort of need to get away from everything. And they really have to be prepared to handle almost anything. And sometimes people come in that, you know, may have some issues that they're dealing with and they're a little upset and so on. So we just wanted to really reflect that there are a lot of duties of the library staff that people just don't really think of in relation to them. And they pretty much have to be prepared to handle anything. Even the board has to handle anything. And I've been surprised at some of the things that have popped up for us. So anyway, that explains the superhero.
I thought it was Jenna.
Her too.
She's the junior superhero.
Yes. Yes.
Superhero making.
So I'm going to turn it over to Nicolina, who prepared these the slide. We should
Just so you
explain
know,
them.
Nicolino, we have it electronically,
Oh,
so
okay,
if I'm facing you, but I have it on my screen.
okay, excellent. All right. I don't, the clicker isn't working.
Is it not working?
But
There it
I'll
goes.
just, I'll give you the eyes. All right, so. So you'll see on our next slide, that first and foremost, we want to thank you all for your support for the 2019 year. Municipal funding is crucial. It allows us to cover operational costs, which are the foundation of every public library. And that includes items like, rent, books and materials, subscriptions, programming, office supplies, and all that sort of thing. So thank you so much for that. And there's another group of people that we would also like to thank, which are fundraisers and donors. So we've had multiple fundraisers this year. We had our annual spring dinner, book sale, Bonnechere Authors Festival, and Google Rocks, and multiple organizations have been involved in that.
Sorry to interrupt you, but do
Did you want to try it again?
Oh,
her
yes.
stick maybe? Oh,
Oh, there we go.
okay.
There you
Yeah,
go now.
it's working. All right, so yes, that was the first slide about.
Christmas miracle.
All right, and then I'll just move on to the next one. All right, so that's for our fundraisers and our donors. So yes, multiple organizations are involved in our fundraisers. Friends of the Library are crucial with our book sales. Bonnechere Authors Festival Committee works with us, and as well as our staff and our board. Google Rocks is a staff initiative. Annual spring dinner is board led, but we have multiple volunteers throughout for all fundraisers, and lots of people involved. And that's our list of our donors for this year. So of course, Friends provided us with a sign, and some other donations as well. Rotary Club, the Lake Clear Property Owners Association, the Clothing Bank, and the Horticultural Society. So overall, a lot of support in the community, which is amazing to see.
We're stuck.
A brief Christmas miracle.
Yeah, just move it then.
I can't even get into it.
Oh, it's not. That's okay.
Oh, technology.
Yeah,
Try
it's
now.
always, oh,
I'll try now.
There you go.
there we go.
Nice picture.
When it's working, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Then it
I don't
freezes-
get to watch, I don't get to watch it.
then it freezes the program.
All right, so I want to be very mindful of your time today. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So I'm just gonna breeze through some of these numbers. So this is just a snapshot. First and foremost, the first couple of slides are snapshots of our physical collection, so what's currently on our shelves. So these are the statistics for our circulation for that part of our collection in terms of member types. So you can see Bonnechere Valley members are our primary users, and then North Algona Wilberforce. Then it's our non-residents, our outreach, and then Killaloe and Admiston Bromley. And outreach is actually a combination of NAW and BV. We provide things like assistance for homebound delivery services. So amazing people in the community are aware of others who are unable to make their way to the library, and we assist them in picking books out for those people or other materials. And we also visit Fairfields, local schools, that sort of thing. And our seasonal non-residents are also included in the non-resident statistic there. And this one's a little bit, got a lot of information on it. So again, it's our physical collection, and it's all by age group. And right off the bat, you can see our juvenile material, adult, and movies and TV shows are extremely popular. And the reason why some of the other portions of the pie chart are a little bit smaller is because those collections tend to be also smaller. So for instance, French is basically that one line there. And the reason why the collection is smaller is because currently there isn't a demand for that in the community. So we're always looking to see what the community needs and wants and reflecting that in the collection we have. So you'll see in the next slide, our most recent acquisition in terms of books and materials and all the various things that were listed in the previous pie chart. We use that information to get a sense of how we should make our purchase. So you can see right off the bat, the part of the table that lists adult, it's a significant part of the expenditure, and that's because that's who's coming to the library. But you also may have noticed, as I said, that the children's and the DVDs and movies and TV shows are also extremely popular, but the numbers are a little lower. And that's only because before this most recent acquisition, we purchased a whole bunch of nonfiction for our children. So this time around, we purchased less. And then for our DVDs, we regularly have to place orders because it is so popular and we need to keep up with the most recent movies and TV shows and that sort of thing. So we try to reflect that in everything that we do, that we gather multiple statistics and base it all on community needs and wants. And that's just an overall outlook for our physical collection. There were 19,266 total circulations, and we have 17,192 materials in the library. And that number is always changing based on the way that our collection is. If things are aging out, we remove them off the shelves and replace them. So that is definitely a fluctuating number, but that's a pretty good average.
It's a pretty impressive number for a teeny tiny rural library.
Yes, yeah, we definitely see a lot of circulation, which is an amazing thing. And the benefits of borrowing from the library are vast for the community too. So through our integrated library system called Apollo, we're able to generate multiple reports. And one of the reports we can generate are our top 200 members. And from January 1st to December 12th, obviously we didn't include the names there because of the patrons, because we uphold with privacy and confidentiality and all that sort of thing. But the number one is the person in the community who has saved over $14,000 by borrowing from the library from the beginning of the year. And if, let's say, you're somebody who doesn't visit the library frequently or prefers not to take out a lot of materials, if you look at the very bottom of the table under 200, that person saved $596. So there's a significant amount of savings there, and all of those figures are based on the value of the item. So if you take out an audiobook and it cost us $40, that's what the report is generating. And by comparison, in 2018, public libraries cost Ontarians only over $47 per capita. So if you come into the library, use maybe just one item or two, or borrow, I should say, then you've already benefited. But most people take out more, so the savings are within the hundreds of thousands. So as I've been saying, that's just our physical materials. We offer a vast amount of ways for the people to access information and also various services. So this is a grand total of all of our usage. So 92,537. So that's our physical materials, any kind of use in the library, such as the booking of our makerspace meeting room, which is used for meetings, but also for programming. And programming, of course, any type of reference that we provide, whether it's face-to-face, over the phone, online, visits to the library included in that, plus the use of our printer, scanner, and fax machine, our interlibrary loans, so those items that we request from other libraries, our online databases such as Mangled Languages and Ancestry.com, Overdrive Libby, which gives people access to e-resources such as e-books and e-audiobooks, and Wi-Fi public computers, which is available to anyone. You don't have to have a library card, and social media engagement. So some people prefer to ask questions online, and then our website. And so here, I won't go through the full thing, but this is just some of the highlights in terms of our programming. So this is another area, again, where we're extremely busy and we have a lot going on at the library. So on the left-hand side, we have just some of the people that we partner with in the community and the corresponding programs. So for example, with the Bonnechere Authors Festival, obviously there were events within the Eagle's Nest, but then we also had author writing workshops in the library with the authors the next day, earlier that day. And then for Catch a Star Daycare, they provided us with a donation, and we were able to then bring in Little Ray's Reptile Zoo during our TV Summer Club, which was extremely popular. We were almost over capacity. So to be careful there, trying to tally all the people that were coming in.
And tally all the reptiles that were coming in after they came out, right?
Yeah. So yeah, no one got
I'm just saying.
behind.
Just putting it out there. I made a point of leaving before they arrived.
Yeah, just in case. And then of course, local schools who, you know, have been receiving fewer and fewer funding over the last couple of decades from the province. So we try to support them as much as we can. Local and, you know, Indigenous and First Nations elders that provide, you know, a multitude of amazing workshops. The Food Bank, the Women's Sexual Assault Center are longtime partners. Clubs within the community, such as City Sunday Volunteers and the Eganville Photography Club and Astro All Stars. And we also contacted Elections Canada. And they set us up with a whole bunch of information so that we could set up an info center at the library for the federal election. And from the community, a couple of people suggested that next time we actually maybe do a meeting for all candidates. So we'll look into that for any potential elections as well. So these are programs that are being highlighted that are strictly staff led. So there are so many. This is, again, just highlights. March Break Madness, Tech Help is extremely popular. Homeschool Club, Book Club, Dinner and Movie Club, all popular. We provide activities during PA days, and then we have various craft days and maker days in our maker space. So this is what March Break Madness looks like. Every single day we have an event, and actually in the month you'll see we have an event or something happening every day except for 2 days, and that's strictly because Homeschool Club was on hiatus during that time. They had their party on March 8th, so they were all wrapped up for the month. So yeah, you'll see something for everyone on our calendars, or at least we try to have something for everyone. And then this is a second example, our June calendar. You'll see a few more gaps here. So same thing for Fridays. Homeschool Club was on hiatus. On Mondays, we offer Tech Help by appointment only. So that's why we don't place it on our calendars, just to make sure that we're using our staff time well. And also a great fun thing that happened June 5th, Youth Garden Building with Bee. So thanks to your approval of the youth gardens, we got started right away, and we had them all built up within June. And lo and behold, the topic or theme for our TD Summer Reading Club was actually Nutty for Nature. So it was perfect. And you'll see in this
Does anybody
slide.
else get any veggies out of this garden? Because I missed the basket of goodies.
Yeah, so some people are a little bit cautious with taking items, so we actually started putting it in the library, but that's a great idea about baskets. So that's something that we can look into actually. But we started baskets in the library.
Yeah, you didn't
A
get
big empty space.
Right
here.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got those peas. that
It's
you want.
probably a lot healthier than turtles.
It's Christmas time. There are no calories at Christmas time.
That's right, that's right.
And the funny thing was that we had the veggies right beside cookies that we sell for $1. So we kept saying, like, we're all about, you know, healthy eating. The veggies are for free. You have to pay for the cookies. So yeah, a lot of people love that. Come to the library, pick up some cucumbers. Why not? So yes, the youth gardens were supported by the Horticultural Society and the McCann family. And that's a photo before, you know, planting started. And on the right-hand side, that's actually a photo from our TD Summer Reading Club. They're, you know, in the gardens using them and learning from them. And this is just some more photos from the TD Summer Reading Club because it is a very popular program. Our summers are so popular, we request extra funding, the Canada Summer Jobs Grant. So on the left-hand side, you'll see Olivia, who was our additional programming assistant and assisted with Google Marketplace. Each time the kids come in for an event during the summer, they get Google Bucks, and then they can use them at the marketplace to buy various things. So again, you know, another opportunity for literacy, learning math skills, right? And then just, you know, maybe like 1/10 of the crowd for the Little Raised Reptiles event there. So yeah, that was hugely popular. So that's a general overview of the year. But of course, you know, 2020 is just around the corner. So we have a lot of goals for the new year. And this is just a sample. So of course, it's going to start with the strategic plan. Our board is working on a strategic plan, and we're going to then be able to use it as a guideline and use it to revitalize our various strategies like advertising, supporting local artists and crafters, further developing the maker space. And we'll actually be attending the Ontario Library Association Super Conference, a massive super conference that's held either in January or February usually. And that was by request. And that's actually because of the support of our youth. So our YAC committee, the Youth Advisory Committee, is very strong, in large part to Jenna.
Does yak know you call it yak?
Yeah, and they think it's funny, I think. I don't know. I've been asked. That's a good question.
I'm gonna have to get you to elaborate on the buffalo bucks too, because it was explained to me at home, and I think it's fantastic. You know, and I think it really shows when participation is involved, it shows what you reap what you sow, so to speak. So,
Definitely.
so if you can tell the rest of council that.
Yeah, so, well, it's all part of also our general strategy to increase gamification and bring that into our programming. So that's extremely popular right now in academic libraries and academic circles, but it's sort of, you know, making its way into the Ontario curriculum. So that's providing any kind of, you know, competition or badges or anything that you normally see in a game or a sport, and bringing that into the learning environment. So that's an example of that, where, you know, you get some kind of, you know, benefit by participating. And so the engagement is entertaining, and it's also an opportunity to learn. And so that's in part what we're thinking about for a makerspace too, trying to enhance the amount of games that are available, and also making sure that our programs reflect gamification. And then of course, yeah, so we're really excited about that because we were asked to come for the super conference and to talk about, you know, what we've been working on with YAC, because it's rare to actually have a very engaged teen audience as we do. So other libraries want to copy us, which is, you know, the standard that you want. And then of course, enhancing partnerships such as with the Training and Learning Center, Rotary Club Friends. We'd like to have maybe some outdoor seating where the gardens are, you know, of course we'll see, and then enhancing the interior so that it matches the new branding and logo and all that sort of thing, and just, you know, refreshing the interior of the library. We have some new carpets coming in, so getting some signage that is more reflective of the current collection, and you know, that kind of stuff. So that's what we're hoping for the 2020 year, and I don't know if you guys have any questions.
Can I just point out
Oh, yeah,
before we
of
go to
course.
that, the STEAM programming that it mentions there, that is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
Yeah.
So that is a sort of general program that's going to work all through the year. Evelina would like to, is it for the TD summer program that it is
Right.
recommended, and you're incorporating it throughout everything?
Right, so for the TD Summer Club for next year, the topic is Game On, so it's again gamification. So we're gonna be bringing that in, but also bringing in STEAM because it offers up so many opportunities for basically playing, but also learning. So, you know, if we are able to do things like purchase chemistry sets, we could have, you know, fun science experiments in the makerspace, for example, or if we purchase, you know, robots, we can teach kids how to code and make sure that they have those 21st century skills with technology. And so that all would come into play in terms of our programming and gearing up for the summertime as well.
When you say kids, can we include council in that?
Yeah, so yeah, actually, our
I
maker
want to play with
days.
robots.
Yeah, come on in. So it's for anyone, the maker days. We're gonna make it.
Wars.
Yeah, you can have competitions.
I'm lucky, I have my own personal tutor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're also, I got especially engaged in putting an alarm system into place. There's no smoke alarms, no burglar alarms in the place.
There were no smoke alarms in the
I
library?
didn't just realize it, yeah. Just realized it last night.
I hope
Do
the
not
fire mention
I hope
that.
the fire chief's not watching this.
Is he on today?
Yeah, exactly.
I have something.
Books are hard to burn, but computers are easy to steal.
Wow. That's remarkable. How old is that library?
50 years next year. I just discovered that. That's our 50th anniversary in 2020.
Well, I can see what kind of Christmas present we should be giving the
Library,
library.
yeah, exactly.
So
You
you
do reno that
you tying that
model.
into live monitoring, or how are you gonna do
Yeah,
that?
tied into my life monitoring, yeah.
Eric?
It's not that expensive.
No.
It's not that expensive. No, no. And the other thing, if anyone has a chance next year to go to the BUPL Rocks at the Legion, enjoy. I really enjoyed to see how the young people all work together to pull that off, and Nicolina. It was really amazing.
How big is the youth group?
So right now we have primarily preteens, that's our major group, and really it fluctuates from week to week. We have like probably like 12 core preteens that come almost every single week, and then we have additional ones that come in straight after school and are on the computers and using the facilities.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's actually a really good size for this.
It really is.
Yeah, so we're trying to set an example with the other Ontario libraries.
So that's why we're excited.
But I mean, if you can engage young preteens, now, you're forming better adults, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and they get used to thinking of the library as a space they want to be in, which is great.
Exactly.
It's fun, it's, yeah, a big social event. And,
Yeah, and for YAC, they're encouraged to think about opportunities to fundraise. So they set up like, bake sales and all that sort of thing. So they're learning really key skills by being a part of the group too.
Fantastic. Wow.
And they actually come to our board meetings, the executive from the YAC group come to our board meetings and report on their activities, which is, that's just terrific to me because they're being responsible, but they're learning that skill of speaking in public, although some of them have a lot of experience, but it's,
Again, I have a personal tutor.
But
it's
you're
great.
also teaching them, it's almost like a civics class,
Mhm.
because now they're learning proper process and procedure for running a meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they get to witness it all.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
I loved my library when I was a kid. I remember going to George Locke Library at the corner of Yonge and Lawrence every single Sunday with my grandmother after church. And it was a really special place for me. And to see how we've grown these libraries, especially, I can't get over the numbers in this teeny tiny library.
Mhm.
It's fantastic.
And the challenge is to keep pace. That's what I notice is that you have to really anticipate it. Nicolene is really good at that and the whole staff is, but to be able to anticipate what we should be current with 2 years from now so that we're long-term planning,
Right.
which is really important because we don't want people here to be falling behind what is happening elsewhere.
Well, I'll be interested to see your strategic plan. I think it's a good process to go through. And it doesn't need to be, you don't need a $50,000 consultant to do it.
No.
You know what the library needs. And I think that between the board and you and your staff and the youth group, I think that you could come up with some pretty ingenious things going forward.
Yeah, we hope so.
And the sign looks fantastic.
All right.
I was trying to stay off that cemetery with all this snow, but I did drive up. I was stalking you. I just drove in and I didn't drive by.
A drive-by. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for your time.
Perfect.
I look forward to hearing.
Yeah, we'll be contacting YAC for the presentation. We'll be starting that in January. So we're hoping to do some videos and that sort of thing with them. So they're probably going to be all excited.
For sure. Oh, she always is. I hear about a lot of good things.
Is Janelle Presidente?
She is.
Mhm. Second year running, at least.
Yeah, at least.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Yes,
Have
and
a
to
good
you all.
Christmas,
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys.
I seen where I seen my spelling mistake.
Oh, what was it?
It's, it's Jason's here. garage hauling costs. Garbage.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just took your, yeah.
I knew I seen it somewhere. Twice. That's okay. And number 7.
Right.
Kevin, Ron,
Yeah,
Like
Kevin,
when we got, when
Kevin
we
did
had
come in.
Victor Castro on the agenda. Victor Castro.
No, that's good. I thought it was like.
I know, it's a funny error, right?
you guys gonna come to that?
Thank you. Oh, you can park my car legally now.
Where did you park?
You can no park over.
Gates. They're kind of put in slotted areas where, so anyways, I'm not sure. The other thing like we keep in attendance, and it's been as many as 0 to 15 people. So
Yeah, their sponsors aren't getting their bang.
that's right.
Gotcha.
It's only the ones that are after the.
After hockey tournaments. And the thing with that is we have 7 tournaments on Sundays. So you got 7 Sundays. The ice time is pushed to 7 o'clock at night.
Pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to 3.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah,
big,
that's late.
So
Because most of the people that come to public skating are younger, they're not. the majority.
it's a mix. It's a
Yeah,
mixed
but,
families.
Yeah,
It's a
but
mix.
families come
Yeah.
at 7 o'clock, getting pretty late,
Yeah, especially Monday
Yeah.
morning is.
because it's a weekend, right?
Yeah.
Sunday.
And it's dark and cold, and do you really want to go out at 7 o'clock at night?
So that's just one little.
You'd end up with dead times on that, right? Basically at the rink.
After that time, yeah, you'd have an hour, because normally after tournament, you'd have public skating, and then after that, unless there's people come in, another person rents that ice time, possibly. And that's just a matter of getting a phone call too, that can change by the minute.
Well, how long do you stay open Sunday night?
Sunday, well, that'd be the last, it'd be 7 to 8 o'clock at night, but if someone calls for ice time during the day, is there ice time open 8 o'clock? Yeah, there is. Where you go.
But you don't have much of that.
No, not as of yet anyways.
I think this has got to be your call, Kev.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just means you'll be shutting down at 6 of them, right? You all, once the tournament's over.
Pretty much, yeah, the 6 o'clock tournament's over. May run a little later, but
Yeah, but on average.
on
6.
average, yeah.
I guess we try it and see what happens.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see what kind of feedback we get too. Maybe
Yeah.
if there's, if we hear some repercussions of people wanting that ice time. Well, then,
Your call.
okay, we'll move forward on it then.
So I wrote play structure on here because I didn't want to forget when Steve comes as well. Have you guys been working together on this?
Yes, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I guess the outdoor rink, the fire department put on a flood on last night, so hopefully this week looks great, so maybe by the weekend we'll be in the shirt.
Thursday looks like a
Yeah.
really good freezing
Yeah.
day, for sure.
Yeah, so that's that, and I do have some pictures of the play structures for Propion Park and Centennial Park, and I was talking to Danny last night, and the couple diagrams we sent out, he was wondering if we should maybe go to an older age. We have from 2 to 5 years old, and he's thinking maybe the majority of the kids may be over and above that already. So anyways, that's an option that we may look at.
Does that have to be done by the end of this year, for funding or not? Or
Well, we'd have
Something
that
more?
grant money, but we can go ahead and purchase a slide and you utilize that with that money.
Yeah.
But Dane and I have been sort of working back and forth, and we've been, in contact with different suppliers kind of deal and seeing what's going to be the best. We'll make sure that it's utilized before the end of the year for sure.
I agree with Danny, though. I would think that you want to go more towards, say, 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
Or to 10, yeah.
yeah.
But you still want it for the 2 to 3 year old age as well. That's tough. I never thought of an age group.
Yeah, it's,
just with the 2 to 3 year olds, the parents be more there to watch them than the older ones. They could, you know what I mean? So the slide is a little more.
What's the difference in the slide? The older ones are steeper.
Ragging goes on big ones, it doesn't.
basically the more options, Mark, and they are higher.
Yeah, bigger
Yeah.
kids, bigger costs, so
Yeah.
really we have a budget and.
Yeah.
That's what we'll have to go.
I'm glad we're utilizing this money, though.
But we also have the option to, we removed one from Centennial Park, so so be it, if we use up that money on a smaller one that we removed,
Mhm.
use that money up for that and then move forward on the other one.
Whatever works.
Just don't lose the money.
That's right.
No,
That's
absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But we gotta get something in place for that too.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
Danny-
would say that they're the
and-
priority.
Yeah, and in the conversation, he was willing to look at maybe forego, like for now, and put it in the budget and go to a bigger structure for an older group and see what we can do. I said, I can't guarantee you anything, but this is what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
So looking at that now, so our wood is out of the question then? I see that's all plastic and composite. That's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I really was sort of digging the idea of it being built, but it sounds like it might be more trouble than it's worth in the end.
At the end of the day, if you have something that's going to last 20 to 25 years, what's the one in Centennial Park are, so with very little maintenance.
Do you have any rough idea what the older group would be?
Well, that's
I
up
don't know
for,
the cost wise.
is that 8 till
Yeah.
13? I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I'm just wondering cost wise that we got it cost.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Not for, because that's the
Yeah, that's the younger one.
the groups that we
Yeah.
took.
Yeah.
But like, that's, these companies are just a matter of going for
Yeah.
an older group, like an older stage.
I can't imagine it being exponentially more.
No, I think that one is very substantial.
Just
It
different,
is.
it's just different features
Yeah.
generally, like a lot of like the larger play structures are designed for multiple, from like two, they just have different steps.
Yeah.
On it, right?
Yeah.
Just like a house, there's lots of additions.
I guess the other little item is the parking lots beside the rink. I've been over and chatted with the property owner and gave a few suggestions what we're going to proceed with. And anyways, to make a long story short, with this last snowfall, the snowbank's been sort of put in place. So
That's good.
I don't know if we need to proceed for the time being.
I'm sure he'll let me know if it's not sufficient, but I did appreciate that you put up the pylons and the chain for the Christmas party. It's just unfair because people are parking almost into his driveway.
Anyways, we went over and located what we think is the survey picket. So it's pretty much in line. And sometimes when you find a survey picket, there's not as much property as one thinks. So anyways, I think the snowbank is good for now.
Thank you for doing that.
I guess the tourist booth, the tree lighting, well, tree still standing, a little bit of a can on it though.
It's got a lead on it.
Like seriously,
Yeah, so
Throw a
It's got
rebar and pull it back, you're.
there's a rope on it already
Yeah.
prior to, but with that wind and freezing rain and
It's
all
got
that
quite the
stuff.
lead on it.
yeah,
So anyways, hopefully we're gonna see what, before the end of the week, we can kind of straighten it up.
we also might wanna, in your budget next year, wanna look at a proper outdoor plug system.
Flood system?
No, plug in.
Plug
system,
Electric. She doesn't like the octopus you have going on.
Oh.
Show them the picture, Clark.
It's efficient.
We might wanna
Any
look.
suggestions?
Or you can buy an outlet that's designed for outside, right? That's the first thing. Right there, all that's not.
I don't wanna,
I know,
I just,
it's fine.
yeah,
We'll just remind him in the budget. for
Yeah.
next year.
And
Just a little something for the tourists.
we're gonna add something in your budget.
Yes,
How does that-
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Somewhat a little bit,
And it's good to go to these
GFI,
functions because we can see where,
Yeah,
you know, like smoke alarms in the library.
that is,
and,
that's unbelievable.
outdoor power bars for our tourist information booth.
what I would do for the tourist information booth,
Let's take note of that.
I'd have a GFI plug at the booth to plug it into.
Yeah, I
That'd
think,
be most important.
Yeah, yeah.
well, and it's a inexpensive and easy solution.
Yes.
But no, the library, I didn't, well, it all started with the All-Stars, the astronomers using the library, said, well, they have to have a coach or alarm system. We don't have an alarm system.
We would have to send the chief over to do a little
I
presentation.
just hope the chief's not watching this.
And here's some pictures of Bonnechere Park as it's proceeding.
Oh.
Yay.
They're insulating today, so things are moving forward. They're watching the cold weather too, so
That's in under the wire as well.
yeah, that will be very close to the wire.
So, Kevin, this big one here, this 10 grand one, do we have the money for that?
And no,
How much money do we have?
we have about 50, correct me on this, Dan, about 53, 55.
1,500.
No.
No,
53.
5,000.
5,300.
Yeah, we're well on our way.
And with the Dana's report, the community development newsletter, she's sending out, first completed and sending out for January, February. She's been doing a great job of doing youth dances, getting the sponsors. So it's, we're in good shape right through till June.
It was such a good idea to get sponsors.
We just had the youth dance on Friday night and we had 110 kids.
Wow.
Where are they all coming from?
All over.
Well, it's the lack of the neighboring communities offering it. And I've noticed there's kids from all over coming. You know, Jenna tells me about that too, right? So
All over.
absolutely fantastic that we have a place for them to do so. For sure.
That's, yeah,
No, and it's kept very decent. Thanks, Dana, for sure.
And the Christmas parade, I would say it was a pretty good success, you know. Better Sunday before, and this last Sunday would have been interesting.
yeah,
And somebody got to show off his new shiny.
Yeah.
especially for those of us that walked.
Mhm.
If you had roller skates on, I could have pushed you.
I know,
Yeah.
or I could have you could have
Yeah.
towed me,
Yes, we could have did that.
like a little, like a
Yeah,
ski. Yeah, you could have.
Yeah. Little reindeer.
With a harness on like that.
Yeah.
It was actually a really nice walk because it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was-
And Cheryl kept yelling out the window, "Are you warm enough?" And I'm like, "Warm enough? I'm sweating out here." It was a,
I got to go up and Killaloe on Saturday, and that was a little different. They had that lot of rain, and
oh,
then it turned into snow, and
Of
then it
course.
ice.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it still was good.
Good.
So you threw your studs on,
Chains on.
chains on?
I guess that's the end of my report. Any questions or?
No, I'm excited about all the applications that you've put in, Dana. Like to see the fruits of of that labor.
Me too.
I guess my biggest question is the play structure will move forward on to use as funding up, and we'll make that call. Dana and I and Cass will decide basically what's going to be most efficient and beneficial.
And I like that you're working with Danny on this.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, if you have to, like, say, get the one for Centennial Park, and then we'll have to just backfill for the other,
Well, we'll have to decide
which way you wanna go.
that where we how much funding we want to.
Because the one in Centennial Park needs to be replaced, is it, it's
It's
finished now?
it's gone.
Yeah, the slide was taken off completely, I think, like 3 months ago that was coming.
I took it out. No, I took it out in the spring.
Before summer.
Yeah, before
I took it
summer.
out in the spring. Yeah. So. Anyways, we can move forward on that, and then.
We'll have to do something for Opie on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then we can decide if we want to go with the older youth, say like from 8 till 14 kind of deal. Maybe like, you know, the structure will be maybe a little bigger or whatever. We're not 100% sure. But Dan's full in favor of doing like, you know,
One piece at a time.
well,
Yeah.
making it
Yeah,
a little older,
last.
a little older.
Yeah, a little older and make it last.
And then is that the Opiano group, are they continue to fundraise for it? then?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes, they are. Dollar value, I'm not 100% sure,
Okay,
but they do have some funds.
okay.
Well, we
I think
promised,
some of their funds went to the food bank at that.
I'm not aware of that.
I'm not,
That very well could be. I'm not aware of that.
because of the time, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not, that's just what what I heard from some of the guys.
well, this is a commitment that we made to them, so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, and they're like,
Yeah.
they're willing to work, so.
Perfect.
That's,
Excellent.
Whatever we're short, we'll have to see what we can do about budget.
yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah. And the thing, we were doing it, so we want to do it once and do it right and go from there.
Then you won't have to fix it the next summer, right?
That's
Kevin?
right.
Because you're the guy that has to get the call, so.
Yeah.
Want it long term.
Sure. Anyways.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Merry Christmas,
Yeah,
Kevin.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Yeah, I'll come out with you.
Have a good Christmas.
Yeah.
have to get Jen like an arm extension.
Yeah, no, stick with a Mickey Mouse hat on.
Well, I figured like a meter stick with a clapper on the end.
Put one on the back and have that.
There's- yeah.
You're gonna get you quick, so you
Just a big stick with a clapper on the end, and
Oh.
you just have to reach out. Perfect.
Okay, like a claw.
don't. Whatever.
Yeah, can we, Murph, can we have 5?
Okay.
We're ahead of schedule.
Okay, no problem.
Yay.
Ready? Steve is making some notes here just in case.
It's his wish list.
There's something he forgot.
So, well, the one thing is, we got a note from Steve today or yesterday afternoon that the gentleman from AB is not coming back after surgery.
No, he's not. I was
Okay.
speaking with John on Friday and yeah, he won't be returning whatsoever. So we'll look at that in January once, I guess, once Annette's installed in the big office, and we'll look at that. Because I understood that it was just a short-term thing until John got back from his surgery, but he's not coming back.
But I think that this is also something that North Algona Wilberforce would like to do some sort of shared service with us.
Yeah, I spoke to them this morning. They sent me an email this morning. I think I CC'd you on that.
No,
Maybe I just CC'd Sandra on it. And I just explained that we don't have any agreement in place, so, because they have called us a couple of times,
okay.
and so I just.
Oh, yes, sorry, I saw the email about the call. I thought you meant,
Yeah.
did you see the email
Yeah.
asking for shared service?
So,
Okay, so this bylaw was one of the number 3, they were the top 3, right?
Yep.
Annette, of the shared services meeting we had, sharing bylaw, CBO, fire, and rec. So that was very interesting, and it's a very simple thing to do if we can just get agreements
Very.
in place.
Yep, and if you remember the report that we generated a few months ago with that towards the future, and that's what it addressed was the shared services. So it is feasible, so.
But I also, knowing that you can't work 24/7, it's not allowed, and knowing some of the bylaw issues that we have on weekends, this might allow us to do a little bit of upstaffing. I'm not saying hiring another bylaw officer. I'm saying perhaps having somebody on call, the summertime weekends or something like that.
I have Tammy, don't forget, I have Tammy, and she is more than willing to do the majority of the animal control calls, and she's quite good at it. So it's, to me, inside, it's really not a huge issue. So.
Okay, good. Great.
Send it to you, email from Steve?
Yep.
Okay.
We just finished our first significant snowfall this season, and I am happy and sad to say that after 18 years, I wrote absolutely no tickets. Nobody was parked illegally after the first snowfall. Usually we get 4 or 5 that just, but there was none. It was really great. I got up at 5 in the morning for nothing. I'm not sure whether Kevin mentioned or not, we had an issue up at the ball field, and I emailed Brent on it. It may not be an issue because the snow the way it is, but if the snow goes or something, we will be locking the gates of the ball field because people are not cleaning up after themselves whatsoever up there. So
Well, after their dogs, you mean, not after themselves.
we assume it's the dog.
So where did we land? And I'm glad Kevin's still in the room. Where did we land on this dog park that was proposed to go beside the Geo Trail? But then we were talking about putting it on EGC's land across
So
the bridge.
so-
Yeah,
Councillor Patrick sort of has taken the lead on that. He's got some ladies that are interested, and hopefully sometime over the winter, we'll be able to form some kind of a committee. And then hopefully next summer, we can push it forward.
I think the ideal spot, if we're gonna move forward with it, would be the original game plan behind the septage. Yeah, like but you're running up the track there and it's closest entry, like closest spot to the entry. And then also it's just for the amount of snow that gets pushed in the winter time. And it just makes, we don't have to take as much trees down and everything. It just logistically makes a lot more sense.
You don't have the fence one side, goes up to the river. I'm talking about leaving it go right to the river.
no, the other way, Merv.
The other way,
You'd
okay.
have to go.
It's still feasible. A couple of cosmetic changes need to be done down there, but it's still more than feasible. Councillor Patrick and I sort of walked the area and stuff, and
Okay.
it's doable.
I didn't get a chance to see the other site. I didn't walk in there before the snow fell. I didn't know whether it was a good idea. or
According to
not.
Works, the cost of making it into a flat surface would be
Cost prohibitive. Okay, good enough.
Health and safety, done a whole bunch of training lately. I just finished training with the library, and a whole bunch more coming for the works and stuff. We're working, we just put out I'm just putting out a letter now. We have some propane training for the works department coming up in January that I'll be inviting our neighbors if they have anybody needs to be trained. And we have chainsaw training coming up also, and we'll be inviting our neighbors to participate in that. The staff is all done, they're all happy, and life is good.
You're finished? I was gonna ask about this on animal welfare in Ontario.
Isn't that great news?
I think that's the end of the SPCA.
Nope, SPCA walked away from animal welfare completely.
Well, after they got themselves in
Well,
the
it
deep
was
problem
after
in
the-
Eastern Ontario.
There had been a whole bunch of questions asked, and especially as the USPCA is a private organization and not a government organization. And why were they given the powers of arrest and a bunch of stuff like that? So they just ain't worth it and they walked away. So now, of course, the province has created this new body that is going to be taking care of all animal welfare complaints. I gave this to Dana and we're working, getting it all cleaned up and stuff, and it'll go on our website so people know who to call, so that they don't not continuously calling me because Mrs. McGillicuddy's dog has been sitting outside for 3 days, so that we can move that off our plate. Our biggest worry had been, of course, and we had spoken about that last year, they were trying to download this to the municipalities. What do they call it? The wardens, whatever, the big provincial thing that
Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus.
Eastern Ontario would, and the CAO bunch, the Easter, whatever, did a marvelous job of making sure that didn't get stuck on our back.
Who funded the OSPCA? I thought that was provincially funded.
They're provincially funded, but they're
Okay.
provincial organizations. Same as Family and Children's Services are
Right.
private organizations, but provincially funded.
Good. I like that they included aquariums. I thought that was, when I read it, I'm like, that's funny. But then you think about, I guess, places like Marine Land and
Yep.
they're not talking about your fishbowl at home.
So
You're not talking about a senior's dog that hasn't had his teeth cleaned.
no comment. That's actually all I have for right now.
Nice.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Cheers to coffee. Jack.
I'll keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you will.
Hey, Steve, thanks.
Oh, that's it?
Oh, I go right here. Yeah, we're all ready for another year.
Let's hope
It's all part of my Freedom 85 plan.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with all my time. All my spare time.
I can send you all my documents and you can spell check them for me.
I would love to do that.
And you have witnesses.
It's on live.
Yeah.
Water on
That's
live,
right.
so
Apparently we had an emergency management meeting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I guess Jason, if it's scheduled for 3 o'clock, we're ahead of schedule.
You wanna move to correspondence?
That's your-
Yeah, we can do correspondence. But we can't, second item on correspondence also depends on Jason too.
Yeah.
We can circle back to that.
Yeah.
And the one from Mr. McGrath simply needs to be filed with all the correspondence for the RV issue.
Yes.
And it was very kind of him to allow us to enter that into correspondence. But the resolution from Greater Madawaska with regards to electronic delegation I think that we should probably also pass this resolution. I think it's a really important thing for those municipalities that can't make it to Roma or AMO or simply to go to the province or to Queen's Park to meet with ministers or the premier. So if it's all right with all of you, if perhaps we can pass this in January when we're back.
Sure. Doesn't cost
But,
anything.
you know, I think of municipalities like Head Clare and Mariah, you know, and the mayor grills and councillor grills at the county is just simply not, they just don't have the funding to send her to all these conferences. And as we found at Roma and AMO this year, those delegations proved out. We had 8 delegations and we got 7 of the things we asked for. So sitting with the minister, sitting with the premier is a very important part of our jobs now. You know, I joked the other day that we are professional lobbyists now. The jobs have changed, right? We are not ceremonial. We are not sitting at this table and not doing anything else. This is about telling the province what we need from a rural perspective. And to hear Minister Clark, you know, say, we know that not all municipalities are created equal. Those are things he needs to hear and all the government needs to hear from us.
Yeah, on that subject, Jen, Head Clare Mariah, but what do you do if you're Pickle Lake or Central Patricia,
I know,
Emo?
I know, it's tough. I mean, even us traveling to Toronto for Roma at the end of January. I mean, the weather's terrible and it's, you know, it's tough. So I think, but I also recognize how important the face-to-face is. And with technology the way it is now, there is absolutely no reason that we can't do electronic delegations if need be. Everyone's okay with that?
Yep.
Thanks, Dana. I guess it'll be Sandra. Traitor.
Do you want to move on then to do an unfinished Renfrew County update?
Yeah, so we had our inaugural meeting last Tuesday. Debbie Robinson, the Reeve of Laurentian Valley, is now the new warden of the county of Renfrew. I think she's going to make a fantastic warden. Has absolutely spent this year preparing herself, going to every single committee meeting, educating herself with regards to the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, with what Roma's doing, with what AMO's doing. She was extremely well-spoken at the delegations that she attended at AMO. I am going to the inaugural Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus meeting on January, I think it's 8th, 9th, and 10th. And at that time, the MPPs from Eastern Ontario and the MPs come. So I'm looking forward to being able to introduce Deb to, you know, Steve Clark, Todd Smith, Lori Scott, like all of our Eastern Ontario crews. So I think it's it was a very emotional day, but I'm really excited for Warden Robinson. I think
I called and congratulated
oh,
her
good.
because we go back to 2006 when we started the Upper Ottawa Medical Recruitment Committee.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think she's going to be really fantastic new warden. It'll be fun to see 2 women in a row on the warden's wall. So just, I don't know if you guys know, I was only the 4th female warden in all the history of Renfrew County, which is quite something. So Deb will now be the 5th, but we'll be back to back for the first time. Outside of that, and I was made the new chair of finance and administration. So I'm really excited about that. We had our just a quick pre-budget meeting yesterday. So I'm looking forward to my new role, or my new old role. I was chair of F&A a few years ago.
But you're going to miss all the meetings.
I'm looking forward to being a county councillor and coming back to be the mayor of Bonnechere Valley. I feel like especially this year, I wasn't able to give enough to our municipality. And I thank all of you guys so much for all of your support and jumping in when I needed you. But this year, Rudy and I were just talking about this out in the parking lot. This year has been, it's been exceptional, you know, with the 6 weeks of flooding and
I was gonna ask, so next year if there's a flood, who's gonna accompany me on the boat?
I don't know, Tim.
Can I come and get you?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
I'm never
I'll
going in
bring
that
that
flat.
life jacket and stuff.
Yes, I'm never going in that flat bottom boat ever again. But you know, the floods and then of course, you know, the provincial government rolling out all the legislation and then repealing and, you know, it's been a lot of lobbying effort this year. So this 2019 was quite exceptional in that way. So I am looking forward to, you know, regrouping here, getting together a strategic plan, moving forward and finding some interesting ways that we can move Bonnechere Valley forward. Hi, Jason.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Hey, good.
Solve the wrongs of the right to the wrongs of the world.
So, where do we want to start?
Well, I'm embarrassed to tell you that I don't really understand the hauling, the tipping and hauling.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no, what I didn't get was like a side-by-side comparison of if we buy a truck or if we use their trucks.
Okay, so,
And I'm really surprised at the difference, the two prices you got on the trucks. There's got to be something wrong. Either somebody's making a fortune or somebody bid it wrong.
possibly, or because I talked to all three, there was actually three quotes that come in. And I was quite surprised too when it did come in that low.
Well, when I used to see something like that in a previous life, I say, hey, they're not gonna be able to do it.
No.
Well, and somebody did say at our last meeting about this, that we thought around 350. Was that you?
Yes,
So the 342 seems to,
yes,
But then down to 282.
yeah.
I know.
It's a bit of difference. I did
Can't
question
do
it.
it.
Well, the thing is, Murph and I know what it's like to spec a truck, so that you can lose a lot of bells and whistles.
Yes, and each truck, they're all the same. Like each company is pretty much either doing Mack or Peterbilt.
Mhm.
So they're all the basic truck. So it's just the body that's going to be the difference, right?
it's weird though.
I even questioned the salesman on it. He said, no,
He's
that's
adamant with the price.
But there again, in the body is, so instead of using 1/4 inch on some stuff, they're using
yeah,
16th or whatever, you know, sheet metal versus plate. And
Yeah.
That's, you have to make it up somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. What's missing?
Well, and that's the thing. So do we want to purchase something we don't want to replace next year is another question.
exactly.
If we're getting into that, I'd have my specs very clear.
Now,
No regular.
Mhm.
there may be a few options maybe that were left out. I went over everything pretty good, but you know, there isn't also an option category where, you know, maybe they didn't put on as much as what everybody else did
Like,
right off the bat.
are we talking like heated seats?
No, they're
Or-
talking like cameras, lights,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh.
stuff that's optional. It's not something that everybody would want possibly, right?
Yeah.
A backup camera, sure,
Yeah,
but they have up to 3 cameras. So they put one inside the box, one at the back for backing up. And then there was another,
like a park assist.
yes,
And yeah, that stuff comes at a cost, you
Yeah.
know, for sure.
Yes.
So I totally understand
yeah.
that.
And the difference maybe too is, see, an extra would be a scale for the forks. They have to put different forks on for the scale, for whatever it's to do with the hydraulics.
Do we need scales though?
I don't think we do because every place we take our
Yeah,
stuff.
I was gonna say, we
all
have to
has-
go across scales
Yes.
themselves, so that
Yes.
could be definitely an option to delete.
Yes, and that's, wasn't thinking of having that
Yeah.
option put in.
But I guess before we jump that far, we should try and
Figure out if that's the way to go.
Yes.
figure out the cost here first.
Yes.
That's what I was.
Because all these numbers you give us are basically, most of them are based, they're not really relevant to what's going forward. That's the way I look at this, right?
If you look at the section with the labor costs.
Yeah.
At the bottom, the driver would be an extra 2 days per week.
Yeah.
And that's the other off, like, that's the final number on that.
Only 2 days a week for doing all the garbage and move?
Yes, but that's just at the sites, Mark.
Yeah.
The other 2 days, they would still have to be doing curbside recycling.
But I'm talking about picking up containers at Highway 41 and whatnot, and
Yes.
taking them out to,
Yes,
2 days.
yes.
you could do that in a
Yes.
day?
Right now, the previous company that we have doing it is about roughly 4 hours to pick up.
Is that right?
4 to 4.5, depending, and could be longer depending if
Highway
there's weather.
41, McGrath Road,
Yes,
right clear.
yes. And that's not counting then for them to drive to go and to dump. That's additional cost.
I didn't
Right.
think it longer than that.
Because you've got a couple of these haulers that are per hour,
Yes,
and they're quite expensive.
yes. Now, I did contact the people that are doing it right now for us. Their rate is not going to change for 2020.
Okay,
For 2020.
Yes.
That doesn't,
you
In
mean their
future, who
tipping,
knows,
yeah,
right?
that's 2020.
That's right.
their tipping fee, you mean?
No,
No, they're.
no, their hourly rate for.
Oh, their hourly rate, okay.
Yes.
But I guess the thing that I'm looking at, if you look up above at the other companies you have there, those companies basically are all gonna disappear. Bowman's, Beeline, Duffy's.
Yes,
They're all gone, right?
yes.
And what is the cost if we don't buy our truck? What is the cost with the new company going forward to replace all those? That's really a cost that's of interest to us.
Yes, so right now, Bowman's is gone.
Yeah.
Beeline, we still use them for picking up the 40 cubic yard at Lake Clear. That still goes that way.
Yeah, could we change that? That has to be winch down.
Yes,
Could we change that to a different setup, or if we got our own truck?
that would be an option to,
Get
yes,
rid of that?
yes.
Yeah.
The only problem we have is there's one,
There's a compactor out there.
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Do we really need to use a compactor?
No, it would be a lot more feasible, I believe, to have the bins.
Yeah.
We're not hauling it to Pembroke or whatnot
No.
now, we're just hauling it to our own town.
It's gonna get compact when you put it in the older compacts
Yes,
anyways.
yes.
So you're really defeating the purpose.
That's right.
So that's, to me, that would be a no-brainer to get rid of that and go to bins and then you have
Yes.
everything. the
Now, there
same.
would be
So-
other arrangements that would have to be made with the resort.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
right now, they come in and they throw everything in out of a trailer, right? So,
But it's the same thing, we're changing that it have to, adjust to what the changes are
That's right.
gonna be.
Yes.
We're not gonna make something just stay special just for one individual.
That's right.
Or two individuals.
that's right.
And the other thing I think we have to keep in mind, that our existing garbage truck here in Egan was what, 2007?
Yes.
You know, it's getting up there, it's 12 years old. You know,
I don't know what the hours are. They're not really that high.
oh, it would be that high.
No, no. Everything's mechanically very good on it.
And we're gonna stretch it out further with this other
Yes.
too. So,
That's-
and that's what we have to realize too, like by the addition of this, we're taking the stress load off the other.
Not really, no, because you're still gonna use that truck in town.
He's
Okay,
gonna need it in
Right.
town, but they're not gonna be running to Renfrew with the recycles.
They still will have to. Yes, because for curbside, they will still have to.
Unless we
Oh, for
eliminate that
curb-
altogether
oh,
and
right,
do the
of course.
curbside with our new truck.
It's a possibility. There is a way of doing it. We'd have to put a bin on the
On the
forks.
front, yeah.
Yes. And then you would have to put another person on beside the driver.
Yeah, well, you have
Yeah.
three right now,
Anyway.
so.
Yeah.
so
You have two
that's-
people beside the driver right now, anyway.
Yeah, there's three, right, so
Yeah,
really, it's not,
So you have the driver and a platform on either side of the front step.
but no, that's,
That's
That's
the safety
something
may
we
not think too much of that.
No.
that's something we could work down, but again, I wanna, what is the total cost if we don't do this? Like, what if we, cause the cost we have now, these numbers here don't, they're not like, what is the cost going forward with the new supplier that's going to replace Bowman's? Or
Oh.
the-
That the COO is Brad Mutter. I talked to him. I asked him if he would come down and give us a price, because what they want to do, what we would have to do is get them to go site to site to see what we have. And then for the travel time also, right?
I think before we make any big decision, I think we better get the other end of the deal and see if we can make this, the equation, what it's gonna cost. What our viable option is versus this,
Yeah.
because I think it's right down to the two, right? It's either
Yeah.
a truck or go with subcontract.
That's right.
So,
Yes, and I talked to him early last week. He was supposed to get back to me. I sent him another email and I've heard nothing.
Yeah, so are we one of the low men on his wheel here? He has a lot of other.
I'm not sure.
but that's not a good step forward if that's the case.
No.
No,
No.
but they're still in setup mode as
Yes,
well.
and that's what he
They're-
mentioned to me.
Yeah,
Their main goal right now is just to get the plant up and running.
But they have to have some sort of ballpark figure.
Well, that's what I
Plan or
asked him.
not, like, we have to have some number going forward.
I asked him about an hourly price for the truck. And right now he said he couldn't give me one.
we're gonna have to revisit this in January.
Yeah, I was hoping to get this all. So
It's a shame, no, it's not your fault, but I understand from other municipalities that they're in repairing the plant
Yes.
and getting it up and running, and it is not up and, it's not fully functional
No.
yet.
No, that's right.
But
And so if that's what they're concentrating on, I appreciate, let's get a proper number rather than, you bugging him and he just throws out a number that's not correct,
That's right.
right?
And we want everything exact.
Absolutely.
I think what you can do though, if we're gonna wait for that, I think what you can do is nail down these three suppliers with the truck. Make everything identical and get the price so we know where we're at
That's right.
and nail that down. So there's no,
No guess.
get rid of the gray matter and guessing in between the three
That's right.
suppliers of the truck.
And life
What
goes
are
on.
interest rates right now for government?
Because I think
About
realistically,
3.5?
this is going to be the way to go. If we're going to get them to bed and then the company or whatever that doesn't have any idea, like, I know you're in the rehab, but you still must have an idea.
Well, they should know an hourly rate for their vehicles.
Yeah.
Right, it's just common sense, right? If
Yeah.
they know what it's gonna cost them to operate that
They
vehicle.
know what they're paying their drivers, they know what the cost of,
We've got a little.
So-
yet,
But up until that point, we kind of have a little flexibility in the sense that
Oh,
as
yes.
long as we have a temporary solution,
That's right.
then until we get the final number, then we can make our decision when we see everything.
That's right.
But no, that'd be good to narrow down the difference between the 282 to 342.
That is a huge spread.
That's huge.
But I see that just in manufacturers.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Obviously, with an 8 to 10 month wait time, this thing wouldn't be manufactured it'll have to be manufactured after we say go.
well, that's the thing, you gotta think, this guy, if there's a truck in
Well, I
stock,
ordered
they're
in June.
holding it.
Like
The other
mine
one
last
doesn't have a
week,
truck.
so.
And then,
Right.
then
And
Jason,
But then
there's
the
no
prices
compactor,
should be the
no
other way.
labor.
then
No,
Ja-
not really.
Jason,
Because
some
if
of
you're holding
the
it,
some of
you
the
really
fork,
put
like with
money
the fork, like on the new garbage truck going
Yeah.
in that direction. Is that like an option for, say, like some of the larger businesses we pick up like 20 bags a week from? Like one, if they just purchased a bin and had that, is it more efficient to pick those up in town or keep getting our guys to throw the garbage bags into it? Like, for example, I think Fairfield puts out like 30 bags a week or
Yes.
40 bags. So is it more efficient for them to have, like, purchase a garbage bin themselves and get the town to pick it up that way?
It's all gonna depend on the area
Yeah.
that we'd have to put these bins in to pick up.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be the big problem, because a lot of the businesses in town don't have area for that. And the other thing I see about this is other people coming into town throwing their garbage in the bins.
Well, it's not only that, then you have the odor to deal with too, right? If you're sitting there and like, I know that's when I had the business, I was going to the dump 3 times a week just for that purpose, because to keep the smell down, right? Because if you're just gonna stick it, I would leave it sit there for 30 degrees weather for 7 days, you
Yeah.
know what you got.
That's right. So,
No, and something we do have to consider too, and I don't know if I should throw this out there right out the bat, but we don't know where we're gonna stand in another few years. Shall we ever decide to go to roadside pickup through bigger portions of our municipality? We want to make sure that the equipment we buy may be able to take care of that task as well.
That was something that I was asked about when I was campaigning in 2010. And, especially, down in the Scotts Bush area and Augsburg Road as well. And we sent out a survey, and I think we only got like 9 people responded. It was
I don't even remember that survey, so,
it was,
I
yeah,
think it is something to look into, to send out maybe a survey next year in
yeah.
specific areas of town, like over township, that we can kind of ask, see if it's something that interests them, and if they're, that's the
I
thing.
think
ask-
when the survey went out, it talked of the costs as well,
yes.
and the people that responded,
I
a lot
think
of
the
them
cost,
said no.
The cost of that's.
the cost was prohibitive. I mean, it's different taking on Augsburg Road and maybe Fort Chute Road. Again, you see a garbage truck going through Sebastopol?
Yeah.
Well, I see it going through Laurentian Valley
I
when
know.
I'm through, and I'm through Whitewater Township. I see them picking up all over the place.
But
And
what is the
I've
cost?
heard from a lot of people that they would like to have their garbage picked up. And I mean, this is 10 years later, so I think maybe we should revisit it. And if we've got the equipment and we've got the guys on the trucks, I think maybe we should look into it.
The other thing that I heard though was, once the garbage bag is in, like for a laneway like mine, so once the garbage bag is in the back of Dave's truck, is he gonna drive it to the end of the laneway and put it out, or is he just gonna continue on to Lake Clear? So that was the other,
The thing is,
that
though,
was
guys,
one of the arguments.
and I've seen it myself too. We all have busy schedules, or a lot of people have busy schedules these days too, and a lot of people can use that time into spending it with their family rather than driving to the dump a lot of the times
Oh,
too.
when it comes down to dollars.
So it's one of those things where I'm gonna look at some more of these numbers, and
Well, they,
I think it's something to look into.
Well,
One of
until we decide what sort of vehicle we have, it's a moot point, because we're not gonna go stretching our trunk and start running around town. And around the township,
Township, yeah.
because that's just gonna ruin.
And right now, just alone for Eagleville,
Yeah.
you're collecting about 20 yards
Yeah.
of garbage. And so then you're looking at another day
Mhm.
plus, right?
But I've talked with the guy on the garbage truck, and you do Eatonville in a day, so there's a big
Yes.
part of the municipality that you've got a full week to look after. So I don't think it's a moot point. I think it's something that I would like to look into.
it was the cost though that people were balking at.
Well, I think the thing is that when we ask the question is really, it's really the service end of it. Like, if we say $2 like per bag or whatever, just ask, is this a service that you want? Yes or no? Like, that's how I look at it. And
That's what
then,
we sent out.
but there's no cost or anything that was on it.
Yeah.
Why, there was like
Yes,
$2
there
a
was.
bag, take it to the dump, and $4 a bag if we pick it up.
Yeah, because don't forget, when you pick it up, there's also more cost. You have the cost of.
Oh, no, I
the-
fully understand that. All I'm saying is, why don't we just simplify and say, is this a service that interests you? Yes or no? And that's just a basic question that gives us a basic
But you
answer.
better put numbers in
But-
it.
Yeah,
And
They
then,
have to know though.
and then
that-
if there is a response, we'll be like, okay, well, this is the price that we can work with, and then.
But
move from
then
there.
it's a separate line item on the tax bill.
Mhm.
But the thing is, when you have the guys picking up the garbage, you don't have to keep your sites open as long as what you do either. We've got guys standing at every site, and if your garbage is being picked up, you don't have to be paying everybody at each one of these sites an X amount of hours. So I think that we can push and save in a little bit. We have the trucks. I think we're gonna utilize them.
So what do you do with your scrap metals, scrap electronics, your broad?
Oh, no,
You can still leave your waste sites. Oh,
Yeah.
you're still gonna have to have a waste site open, but you don't have to have three days a week at every location. So,
cottages 1 to 3 days a week in the summertime. That's the ones who push it for the summertime.
Yeah.
They don't, when they leave, when they go, that's the problem.
Yeah.
If not, you know what you're gonna have. You're gonna be picking it up in the
In the
ditch.
ditches.
That's what you're gonna have.
so the neighboring municipalities, it doesn't work for them. Like I said, I see the garbage trucks on all different side roads and back roads and stuff picking up garbage. Laurentian Valley, Whitewater.
So my dad's, our homestead is only a kilometer into Adamson Bromley. And my dad was driving down Vicksburg Road and he phoned me and he said, why don't I have garbage pickup? I said, because you're not in Laurentian Valley, but they do every road.
Exactly.
I don't know what they do with their private roads,
I just wonder how many garbage trucks do they have?
or do they outsource it?
Well,
Maybe possibly.
I've been doing the math on what it takes our guys to do our stuff, and I think it's quite possible to do it in a weekly time frame, so.
I would love garbage pickup. And I'm not even the person that goes to the dump, so.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna look into it.
We can certainly send out another survey, but we're gonna have to figure out what the area rate would be on the tax bill.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to figure out that if we go that way, everybody's using it. You're not gonna, I'm not gonna put on my tax bill, because I can take it to the dump myself cheaper. So you pick up one here and maybe pick up another one 5 miles down the road.
No, it has to be a full thing, but if you wanna go to the dump on
If you wanna make
Saturday
it
or
a full
whatever.
thing, you better make a bigger council chamber here.
There's a big vast area,
Mhm.
you know. And like you say, you're gonna be driving quite a distance maybe before you pick up a bag.
But I know that some of our residents are driving, like half an hour to get to a dump on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon. So I see both sides of this. But I would say that it would have to be a proper plebiscite. But definitely, we're gonna need some prices on these trucks, because that's
And you're gonna need a cost before you even put that in. How much it's gonna be.
something for the new year.
The budget time.
So if this gentleman gets back to you, just get him in for sooner the better.
Yes.
And shoot us an email.
Yes.
So that then we can. And if he doesn't get back to you, so be it, come back with the truck rate, and then we'll just have to work out, once we get the full cost of the truck.
Yes.
We can make a worst case scenario, what their costing is going to be, and use it for that.
Yes.
You guys, like you say, if we're gonna do this, there's no sense doing this 8 months down the road.
No, and like you said, depending on which truck you wanna go with. Like the Joe Johnson and the other one, they both have them in stock.
Yeah.
And build time is gonna be the problem.
Okay. Just a little bit of useless information for you, Jason. I got an email the other day. The railroad culvert at the Ducks Unlimited was all plugged up, and the
Okay.
snowmobile club was there with a backhoe cleaning it out.
Okay,
I said, good, I'll tell council.
I will look into that too.
That's all cleaned up.
Okay,
So they lowered the water level about 2 feet there.
Okay, I
Should be
know,
okay for the winter.
I know all summer we were looking after that.
Yeah, no, they had somebody there with a hose, and they cleaned her up.
Great, thank you.
So that Jason doesn't have to come back, should we go into closed?
I guess we could.
As opposed to
Yes.
making you leave and then having you come back in an hour?
Sure.
So Merv, you need a motion to go into closed for
Identifiable individual.
potential litigation. Did you have something else?
The paved shoulders, and sidewalks.
Yeah, it's just a.
Oh,
page
yeah.
shoulders for,
Oh, okay,
Bonnechere.
well, we come in and close, we can talk about
Yeah.
that too.
And the correspondence too, Jen.
Well, that's what we're going to close.
That's what we're going into close for. Thanks, Dana.
Just gonna make a quick 30-second call. Hey, Mr. Going back, just, hey, sorry, I'm just at council. No worries. Yeah, what's going on? Oh, you already plowed out, you were plowed out yesterday morning, like shoveled out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're all good. I had my guy do that, this morning about 5 o'clock in the morning. He,
You need to
shoveled
call
it out.
tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, so,
Thanks, Rudy. No problem.
yeah, no problem. I'll talk to you later though, but yeah, you're all, I shoveled, you out this morning, okay?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye.
Oh, let me stop the camera.
Hey, Glenn made the camera perfect. I'll split it. Yeah. I'll send you, the whatever balance I owe you tonight.
Kidding.
I'll buy you really nice steaks next time.
Yeah?
Get together.
All right. Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, George. Hey, today's council meeting is brought to you by Rio Topping Grill in beautiful downtown Edenville.
George, I actually have a red mug from Beaver Chairs up in Sudbury. It's the same quality, but it's red. They're the best mugs.
They are?
Yeah, they're the best.
Oh, yeah, Jason, there's a present for you under the tree.
Thank you.
See, we're back on.
So we're going down to number 8, doing that finish?
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
So,
you guys are running, eh?
okay,
Yep.
Yep.
that's why I didn't swear.
Oh, good.
Vendors Regan with sidewalk maintenance.
Yes, it's been brought to my attention that there's been a petition going around to sand and do maintenance on the paved shoulders. In our report, right now, we look after 550 meters sidewalk that the sidewalk machine maintains. It roughly takes, depending on the snowfall, between 5 to 7 hours. The last storm was 7 hours. Then we had to go back over them because of the diesel rain. So at the bottom, you'll see a cost per. So sorry about that. So the above paved shoulder is 2,750 meters that the plow truck cleans off right now, but it cannot sand it because the way the plow truck has to go over top of this paved shoulder, the spreader will not throw the sand onto the paved shoulders. A lot of the shoulders are too narrow. They're 1 meter, most of them. Most of our sidewalks are 1.5, or sorry, 1.6, that are mostly concrete. There's only one little section that's asphalt right now. And that was done because there had to be an overlay put on so that the sidewalks would be passable. It was the cheapest way to go right now to do it. And other than that, that's about the only section which is on John Street.
No, and I appreciate you taking the time. Is like I spoke with the resident that's correspondence, Mr. Belak,
Mhm.
and what I say to everyone is to like talk to your neighbors and see if it's a problem that still has. So they went up the street up Bonnechere Street East from Maple Ridge all the way up to the top of the hill, and they had 16 households that signed it. So I think this really coincides with the last presentation we had was active. We had an active transportation. So my question is, how many of these paved shoulders long-term could we transition so we can put a sidewalk machine on it? That's kind of a question, like long-term kind of for us to look at too, because if there is this need that's here, I don't think we have the capacity to maintain them. And that's one of the questions I asked you. Is it the narrow, the degree change, and everything you showed me as well?
That's right.
But I do think maybe for the long term, maybe to see when we're doing that road next, to see what the potential is to put it in a sidewalk for that section of road of say Bonnechere Street East, or maybe of the 2,500 other meters, if there is any other ones as well.
Yes, there is.
I think that's something to look at, and especially as the town grows, we want say have more families move here, more seniors. So the way to do that is to really have, like we have our downtown core of the bridge. So we want to make sure all the residents can safely get there. So I think it's kind of like a long-term asset kind of management plan that we can add into it. That's how I look at it.
So right now,
Because
sorry.
even, Jason, even with the way it is now winged out, realistically, if the sun comes out, it's gonna,
It
snow's gonna melt and it's gonna get iced
Yes,
over, right? So
yes.
it's actually,
Yes.
you know, it's really a use at your own risk type thing, because there's no way to sand it or to maintain it.
No, because like I said to Brent
Yeah.
earlier, like there is some that are 2%, some are 10%.
Yeah.
It just all depends on what the back slope is that they have to match into, right?
Right.
And a lot of them, I said, are narrow. And if they have that 10% on them, you're not even gonna stay on there with the sidewalk.
No. And when the sun comes out, it's just gonna ice up again. So.
You know what's interesting as well? I mean, we do, you know, a good portion of our sidewalks in the village of Eganville. In the city of Toronto, you are responsible for doing your own sidewalk outside of your house. So I get what they're saying, like they want equal,
Yes.
equal services, but it, when I read this, I found it very interesting because, you know, my dad and 4 of his neighbors, they bought a handheld snow blower, right? So that they could clear each other's sidewalks when they needed to. And I'm not suggesting that our residents do that, but I do think it's funny.
Well, and like dating back to the one resident, I remember like me and Bill, and it's also about the buildup of snow from our plows that are going up. So like on that, because we do push everything back, we wing it back and stuff, and they do build up, and you're turning onto a pretty busy intersection. So that's what I had mentioned to Jason, maybe to look down for the future. What's our capacity to be able to move those snowbanks more efficiently, faster, so we're more visible, or how do we reduce manpower pretty much to be able to, when they are winged back, to reduce the snowbanks on them?
Now, last winter, we did remove them with the loader. It was very quick. We had flagman out and 3 trucks from the loader, and it worked very well, but it just all takes time, right? And depending on how the winter's going, you know, you try and work at it as it comes.
Okay, but I don't disagree with you, Brent. I think in our asset management, you know, if there's an opportunity to put in proper sidewalks, I know that was something that was very important to the people on Bonnechere Street West. When we redid 41 and 60, that we put in actual sidewalks.
Well, and I think, like I've been thinking about the last presentation with active transportation, and realistically, like I think, like it's something maybe I'll have to end up maybe chairing or getting involved more in stuff, especially when you see 16 residents just in a short one night period signs saying, hey, this is kind of something, that service that we want. So maybe this is a good group of volunteers that will look at grants and help the township kind of make our lives a little more efficient and better in town, right? So.
Are you offering to sit on the
I
transportation
will
committee?
sit on it, and I'll start talking to people, because I'll talk to Mr. Belak, and I'll mention it to some of his neighbors, because I know it's a good group that's up there. So then they seem to have some ideas, but thing is we don't have the funds to fund all these projects, so we need a little help from our residents is the best way.
So there is a substantial cost to do these, if we do go ahead and do it. Because that machine is expensive to operate, and then you're increasing your sand salt capacity
Yeah,
also.
but you can't do it with current sidewalks anyway. It's not really, it's really a non-starter.
That's right.
Until the sidewalks are
In
equipped
place.
to
Yeah.
accommodate them.
Yeah.
But let's not let this fall off the
No.
radar.
Yep. No, not at all.
It's, okay, great.
Okay.
And Jason, just so you know, the gentleman that we paid for the stone chip and his windshield, Brent and I are each gonna pay the township $35 to make up the $70. And we will come up with a broken windshield policy.
Great.
In the new year.
In the yes.
Yes.
Of course. Right. Good.
Perfect, thanks, Jason.
Merry Christmas, Jason.
Merry Christmas, Jason.
Merry Christmas.
Hopefully, you didn't blow your budget in the last snowfall, right?
I know, right?
That's City of Ottawa's line every year.
I loved,
Somebody ate my last turtle.
I did not eat a turtle.
Oh, you're not mine though. I'm on a good strict diet, you know.
Somebody's got food. Tim, was that you?
I still have mine. You want the turtles?
Darrell, not around? water and sewer budget, or are we just gonna talk about it?
Or do we want to slip George and, oh, but your closed session for potential property, right?
Yeah.
Can you give us a few minutes with Daryl?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
Daryl?
Sorry, guys. But this council meeting is brought to you by.
I was off all day yesterday, no power, so why not today a little bit?
What's that?
I said I had no power yesterday, so I was off almost all day.
Really?
I got back at 9:30 yesterday morning,
Was that
but
right?
I still don't have a telephone. Not till Wednesday.
Oh, we were at least 3.
It's, Bell says it's a network problem.
Talking to budget, they've been out there off 9 times.
Probably sent,
And they're
probably
off
sent to
today.
Taiwan for some parts.
That's hard on the appliances.
Appliances, GFIs, everything.
Yours is really bad. Hi, Daryl.
How's everyone today?
There's a
Good,
present for
Daryl.
you under the tree.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hoping that it would be 1.5,
Okay,
but it's 2.
yes.
So my challenge is it's a really good budget. Like, it's not like you're spending wastefully or doing
No.
things that we don't need to be done.
Maintenance has to be done.
And already taken quite a bit out of the reserves. It's not like you can go and get some more.
Exactly. But there is gonna be some to go in again.
Okay, but, and also you're missing revenue from EGC.
That's right.
Gonna be missing that for.
And I
know,
don't-
well, That's what I'm saying.
I have nothing in here for the water tower because I have no idea what's happening there either.
Okay,
So that's gonna be another little issue that we're gonna have down the road.
That could be
So-
substantial though, too, right? You
Yeah,
don't know, but it's,
we don't know.
it's
I
not,
thought it was their insurance though.
Well, we're trying to find out, hopefully. but That system's never gonna work the way it looks. Because we don't turn the water over fast enough, and I guess that's why it's freezing up. on us.
it builds up ice on the things and then when you turn it, it just tear off the side of the walls.
So,
That's the
So-
problem with low capacity, or major capacity and low usage.
That's right. So I don't know if you want me to go back and take a look at it again and
I-
sneak a little.
I
here, a
looked it
little there.
over a few times and I couldn't find anywhere to cut, and that, it was frustrating. I thought, like I say, it's a good budget. Did anybody else have?
No, it's a water and sewer. It's a 2%, and our job is we just have to find more users for it. Is the end of the day. We don't have enough people on it, so we have to look at how we can either put more people on or make ourselves more efficient, but we're as lean as we can go. And we have a great system. We all walk through it, and it has to be maintained. If it gets neglected, it's gonna be a lot more expensive.
No, Daryl and I will be going to jail.
Well, that as well. So.
Yeah.
We have your little.
Oh, you've got something to put here, so I'm not missed. I get it. Yeah, I gotcha.
If we could only rent out that office.
I know,
You'd sell the
We could
TV.
capitalize on that, but we're not allowed.
I know, because it's a secure
That's
environment.
a
You do have the
fantastic
nicest,
office. I really like that office for
You
sure.
do have the
know,
nicest
Overlooking
office.
river
Oh,
there.
for sure,
Yeah.
So like totally, it's up 41, just about 42,000.
yeah, which is, as Brent just said, lean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I,
And if I don't get the work done, like there'll be money again next year.
Mhm.
Well-
But then it's gonna depend on. the
And in all
store.
Yeah.
honesty, cost of food's going up higher than 2%, so it's pretty lean. Like we're fine.
well, and that is the COLA.
Do you have any idea what the reserves, you don't know how much reserves are coming back?
No, I can't really tell you right now, Jeff. I can't really tell you right now.
Well, if everything
Like,
goes well, we'll probably be able to give them some money at the end of 2020.
like right now, we still owe 60,000 on the long-term debt. So that's gonna take us down to about 120,000, but I have some invoices and stuff like that to come out yet. I was kind of hoping I could just about put back what we were taking out from last year. but I don't know if we're gonna make that.
I don't think it's realistic without an infusion from EGC. Don't look at me, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, I don't think that it's, I don't think that you can rely on that revenue year over year when anything.
Oh, no,
can
we
happen.
can't keep taking it out of the bank.
Exactly,
That's right.
yeah. Go forth and sanitize.
That's it?
Thanks, Daryl.
Merry Christmas, Daryl.
I will
Merry
prepare the
Christmas, Daryl.
links for the next meeting then.
Perfect, thanks, Sandra.
2%.
Good Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Daryl.
Hey, thanks, Daryl, and Merry Christmas.
All the best, Darrell. Okay,
So I already put it on here. Can we resume a closed session for potential property acquisition?
okay,
I moved it, by the way.
okay.
Sorry, guys.
How long is it gonna take?
George, Dave, how long is it gonna take?
Oh, it shouldn't take any more than 10 minutes. I don't think.
Perfect.
Sandra, do you think you can make that happen?
Well, I'm having technical difficulties, but I've got it. This thing's not mirroring my screen today.
Do you have a?
need me to log on to it?
Camera's on.
Camera's on, okay.
100,000.
We'll resume our
Anyway, have a
committee.
good Christmas, guys.
You
Okay, have a
too,
good
Murray.
Christmas,
Merry
Murray.
Christmas, Murray.
Tell
Merry
Murray,
Christmas
tell
to you,
Murray we say
Myrtle.
hi.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll resume back to the committee meeting. We're looking at item number 3, Bonnechere Snowmobile Club Agreement.
I was far more comfortable with the extra wording of it. And apparently the county of Renfrew did in fact sign a similar agreement, so I think maybe this is something, because now we're into snowmobile weather. Did everybody have a little more comfort? with
Yeah, as
the-
long as their insurance company is happy with it, then I was always happy with it.
I think we needed that extra oomph to say that it's not necessarily just about the grooming.
Yeah, the only issue of concern is it's the accrued value.
Yes, but you're gonna
Yeah.
have that with any
I know,
insurance.
yeah. It's not gonna be-
Right?
Yeah.
There, like, that's the problem is that
Yep.
we're never gonna change the Insurance Act.
No, so,
So do you want us to prep that for tonight then? The bylaw, like,
Yeah,
got it ready?
I think in good faith for Mike, I think we should.
well,
Do
they
you
gotta either do that or they're gonna go around by the, yeah, there's a possibility, like they said, they can go around by the forestry thing, but they wanna get moving on this.
I know.
Because with this type of weather, I'm sure the rail tracks are ready
Well,
to
they're
use.
having a meeting tonight and he was looking for a response.
Yeah.
Okay, then in good faith, let's get that done. Thank you, Dana.
Okay, number 4, January 2020 meeting schedule.
What was that all about?
So you and the new CAO are away at a conference, the second meeting in January. Roma,
And Tim, you're going to Rome as
so we
well?
just
or-
want to know if we can move it, to the Wednesday.
To the 22nd?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, hang on,
that
hang
suits.
on.
And this calendar doesn't go to January.
But my phone does.
I got it right here, 22nd. Boom.
Oh, Roma, we go to Roma on the 18th. Right, we're not back till the 22nd, Annette.
We're back on so on the Wednesday, we'll be traveling back. Yeah,
Oh, you're not
Yeah.
traveling
No,
back to the
there's-
22nd. Oh, I'm sorry.
There's stuff on the Wednesday morning.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's
Sorry, I
like,
didn't know that.
In all honesty, do you want to just do it on the 28th then?
the only challenge with that
And it's
is that
back to back.
it's back to back.
Well, we could go ahead to the Thursday.
Yeah.
Doesn't get-
Why not?
I'm
Every
fine.
day is the same for me.
Yeah, 23rd.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
The 23rd?
It's all the same
yeah,
price.
let's do that.
Listen,
So we're gonna have be the 7th and then the 23rd.
Yeah,
so then EGC on the 23rd as well then.
Change my 2 to a 3, we're good.
yeah, no, that's,
Boom.
it never even occurred to me. Normally Roma, it's a fight to get back for county council.
Yeah.
But it's a week earlier this
You're
year.
able to send that so Merv can get it too, just so he can throw it in his calendar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Send them a memo or give them a call. We'll let them know at the next
We need
meeting.
to remind them on the 7th. anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay. What else we have left here? We're not gonna do your main report then? There's nothing on it?
Did you have any questions about my evening report?
I didn't.
We followed up with the gentleman today on the price for the speaker system. Just so you know.
No quote yet,
Of the
No
what?
quote yet.
the microphones.
Oh, my,
Was there anything else?
the lease is,
Yeah, the lease was good, by the way. I read through the entire thing.
Yeah.
I had no concerns with
Okay.
it. It was good.
So that's it? Can I add something?
Sure.
I want
What?
to thank Sandra, because this
Yes.
is our last meeting with Sandra as our CAO. Thank her very much for being here for us for the
Yes.
last, how many months? We still have all the confidence in you that we had. And I'm glad you're staying with us to do your thing. And we look forward to working with Annette at our next meeting. So, go
Annette,
ahead, Mayor Murphy.
she already took her nameplate, she already took Sandra Barr out of the CAO one, like at our last meeting. And we're saying, excuse me, Sandra, you still have another meeting. But Sandra, yes, thank you. And
Yeah.
good on you, Tim, for, yeah.
You've done what we expected you to do, and we're so thrilled and happy to have you carry forward with us.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't resign after just working a little bit of time with me.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I know.
I
You're
know.
very difficult to work with.
I can be.
I know,
I
it's
can
a,
be. I'm working on it. I'm a man. I can change. If I have to, I guess.
Right.
So question, do you want to close off this close now and
Well,
then roll into EG's?
yeah,
Oh,
but
media,
media,
yeah.
you have questions?
Sandra, can you please email me Daryl's budget? Yeah. you can-
Sure.
And is your target 1.5, that your goal?
I,
In a perfect world?
in a perfect world, yes, absolutely. Well, in a perfect world, it'd be zero, but that's
You're
not,
not the real Brian.
no, that's, but, when you see the budget, Bruce, you'll understand what I was saying, that we can't go any leaner than what Daryl did, and I'll be honest, I went over that budget with a fine tooth comb, as I do with even our municipal budget,
Can you use the microphone?
because it's my jam.
That's super.
Finance. Finance is my jam.
Burns it right off.
But it's, I couldn't find anywhere that there could be more cuts. And as I said earlier, we can't rely on EGC, obviously, as a supplementary to his revenue, which we've done, every year in the
Yeah.
past.
And when is your first official budget workshop date? Did you set that?
No, we haven't. I think, perhaps on January 7th, once we have a net installed. January is kind of a crazy month with, I'm gone for EOWC and then we're gone for Roma. And there's budget at the County of Renfrew. So I'm assuming that we'll do it at the beginning of February.
Okay.
And since you're our reporter for this, just so you know, generally we can get done in a day. We're very efficient. Everybody at this table last year, this year came fully prepared to make sure that we didn't charge the taxpayer for another day of budget sitting. Everybody came comfortably clothed and prepared to work as long as we needed to. So I'm assuming it will go as smoothly this year. And I think, our department heads are fairly well seasoned at doing their budgets, so.
That's all I have.
Great, thank you. And that does make a whole lot of sense, because by the time NAW would be over, it would be what, 8:30?
Usually 8:15.
And then you have to drive back to Renfrew in the snow. Yeah,
On Bonnechere Road.
yeah, I think that this was wise. And Deb lives right there. I mean, she's not very far, right?
Easy for her.
I can't imagine what driving in the winter time would be like in the dark.
On Bonnechere Road.
Oh, boy.
He's being sarcastic.
Being very sarcastic.
We don't have Merv to close the meeting, so.
Yeah, no, I've taken
Oh,
over
you're
chair.
taking
Yeah.
over, okay.
As soon as he's done.
You're like, who's cheering this
Yeah, it's
thing?
like-
No, I'm taking it, so. So, then once,
We'll just do this
yeah,
last,
we'll do the close
the
once,
last one, yeah.
once Bruce is gone.
And that we are normally not this willy-nilly, I swear. It's just that when you have the person, yeah.
So you're
Pretty
going back
relaxed.
and close?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heather.